Donald Trump is now scrambling, pull the United States out of the war with Iran, a conflict he himself set in motion. But there's one massive problem standing in the way. The Strait of Hormuz, the most critical oil choke point on Earth, is still firmly under Iranian control. After 32 straight days of relentless bombing, the reality on the ground looks nothing like what was promised. Gas prices in the United States have surged past $4 a gallon for the first time since 2022. Meanwhile, the Strait of Hormuz is no longer just a strategic waterway. It's effectively become an Iranian-controlled toll route. Every ship that wants to pass through is now facing fees of up to $2 million. And this war? It was originally sold to the American public as a quick operation, something that would be over in 4 to 6 weeks. That timeline is now collapsing. Every possible exit Trump considers leads to the same outcome, a humiliating strategic setback. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly why Trump is sounding more desperate by the hour to exit this war, and what could happen if America's strategic petroleum reserves run dry in just days. Here's what we know so far. On March 30th, a major report revealed that Trump privately told senior aides he's ready to end the war, even if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. He reportedly admitted that trying to force it open militarily could drag the U.S. into a much longer and more dangerous conflict. The very next day, his press secretary confirmed a revised list of war objectives: destroying Iran's navy, crippling its missile and drone systems, weakening proxy forces, and preventing any nuclear escalation. But one key objective was quietly removed: reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The very reason this conflict was justified in the first place was no longer part of the mission. That wasn't a small shift. That was a complete rewrite of the war's purpose, happening in real time. Then, things escalated even further. On March 31st, Trump told reporters the war could wrap up in just 2 to 3 weeks, suggesting the U.S. could withdraw soon after hitting its primary targets. But just hours later, he took a very different tone, publicly calling on NATO allies to step in and deal with the strait themselves. He criticized key partners and signaled that America might not stick around to clean up the situation. The message was clear. The U.S. started this war. Iran shut down the world's most important energy route, and now Washington is looking for a way out. But while the White House was focused on messaging, Iran was building something far more strategic. Most people assume Iran simply closed the strait. That's not what happened. Instead, Iran transformed it into a controlled checkpoint, a highly sophisticated system that gives them both economic and geopolitical leverage. Before the war began, over 100 ships passed through Hormuz every single day, carrying roughly 20 million barrels of oil, about 1/5 of the world's supply. Now, traffic has collapsed by nearly 95%. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has effectively created what shipping insiders are calling a toll gate. Ships must now submit detailed documentation: cargo, crew, ownership, and destination. If approved, they're escorted through a narrow corridor along Iran's coastline. And here's where it gets even more strategic. Countries like China, Russia, India, Iraq, and Pakistan are allowed to pass freely. But ships linked to the United States or its allies, they either pay millions or they don't pass at all. Iran is even working to formalize this system into permanent law, turning a temporary wartime measure into a long-term economic weapon. At full capacity, this could generate hundreds of millions of dollars every month. In other words, Iran hasn't just disrupted global trade, it's created a revenue stream and strengthened its control at the same time. And while Trump talks about ending the war, the Pentagon is doing the opposite. More troops are being deployed. Additional carrier groups are moving into position. Thousands of paratroopers are heading to the region. This doesn't look like a withdrawal. It looks like preparation for escalation. One option reportedly on the table is seizing a key Iranian oil hub, an operation that would require a major military commitment and could trigger even wider conflict. Experts are warning this would not be quick, and it would not be clean. It could turn into exactly the kind of prolonged war Trump has spent years promising to avoid. Meanwhile, the economic damage is accelerating. Fuel prices are surging, supply chains are tightening, global markets are reacting, and politically the pressure is building fast. Poll numbers are dropping. Public support for the war is weakening. And with elections approaching, Every day of high fuel prices makes the situation worse. So, where does this go from here? Trump essentially has three options. He can declare victory and walk away, even if Iran keeps control of the strait. He can try to shift responsibility to allies and let them handle the fallout, or he can escalate, risking a larger, longer, and far more dangerous war. None of those options are clean, and time is running out. Because in the end, all the airstrikes, all the military power, and all the billions spent haven't changed one critical fact. Iran still controls the Strait of Hormuz, and right now, that's the only thing that truly matters.